Hello, this is Eric Brown, and many of you came to the informational interviewing session that Cindy Vaughn and I did for Elsherm, and we wanted to put together just a quick recap of some of the things that we talked about. So this will be a nice refresher for those of you that were there. I know some people weren't able to make it, and so you'll have access to this link to be able to kind of look at some of the information that we talked about. And if you've got questions, you can contact Cindy, or you can also contact me at 502-262-9904, or Cindy also has my email address. The basic concept that we went over was on informational interviewing. And some of you may not really know what informational interviewing is, but basically it's the idea of being able to leverage our network to connect with people who can introduce us to people that will help us along the way of finding our next career opportunity. And so we're going to outline the process that we went through. And there were about 7 steps that we went through in the process. I'm going to share some examples, kind of read a couple of some key language that we use in the letters we write to people, and the way that we open that dialogue to getting appointments with people who can help us in our career search. So the first part of it involves making a list of people that we know. So you want to start with that warm market that you have. In other words, people that you know, that you're friends with, that you've worked together at another job before. Maybe you've been working on a project with them currently. And these are people that we can approach just by calling them on the phone, sending them an email, writing them a letter, dropping them a note in the mail, whatever is really appropriate for your contact. So for example, I'm going to call someone in my network, somebody that I know, and just let them know that I'm in the process of looking for my next career opportunity, and I don't expect you to know of any open positions or know of anybody that knows of any open positions, but I'm really wanting to meet people in the community. And so I'm trying to find managers, business owners, executives, leaders in organizations is really who I'm looking for. And in my case, it doesn't really matter what industry it is, I'm kind of really wide open. So can you give some thought to maybe 1 or 2 people who would recognize your name, that I could just use your name to write them a letter, introduce myself, and see about spending maybe 15 to 20 minutes of time talking with them about a career path and some of their experience. And again, I don't expect them to know of a job or have a job or anything like that. When I position it like that, it lowers the pressure, because most of the time when you ask someone, have you heard of any open positions, what do they say? They always say no. I mean, on the rare occasion someone actually does know about a position that's open, but usually that's not the case. Almost always they don't have any idea of any open positions. And so when I can alleviate that pressure right off, it allows them to just kind of be open their mind a little bit and think, well, yeah, I know someone that's an HR executive at this company over here. I don't know if they'd be willing to help you, but we play golf together, so we've got a relationship. So then the second piece of that, once I have that name, and that is going to be the person that's in my warm market, the person I know is called the bridge person. The person whose name they gave me is the target person, okay? And so that's going to become important when I put the letter together. And Cindy passed out a letter for everybody. If you need that, just get a hold of us and we'll send it over to you. So the approach letter that I'm going to send is going to immediately put the bridge person's name right in the very first sentence. Literally the very first 2 words are going to be that person's name. Why is that? Well, when the person that I'm targeting gets a letter from me, they don't know me from anybody, but they know my bridge person. So for example, if Cindy Vaughn is the person that is my bridge person who's given me a connection, in my letter I'm going to start off and say, Cindy Vaughn suggests that I contact you because you're an expert in the insurance industry, let's say, for example. And I'm in a career search, would like to get some feedback from people, leaders in the community like yourself. I don't expect you to know of a job or have a job that's available, but I'd like to schedule 15 to 20 minutes to have some conversation with you. Now at this point in the letter, I want to have an agenda. At one point in my career when I was going through this process, I was in college at the time, and so I used the fact that I was in school as kind of an excuse. It was very low pressure. So the agenda that I put in the letter said I'd like to talk to you about your educational background, kind of what path led you to where you are, getting your feedback on maybe other companies, industries, associations that maybe I could check into that would help me along my journey in finding my next career opportunity. Okay? Then the third piece of that is then setting up the meeting. So I mail the letter out to the target person, and I put in the letter when I'm going to contact them. And usually I put a date that's maybe within a week of when I mail the letter out. So it's going to take a couple days to get there in the mail. They open it. So I want to call them when it's fresh in their mind so they'll know who I am. They'll be expecting my phone call. I call them and I basically have the letter in front of me. Key piece to this is being prepared. So I always want to make sure that I've got the material that I need right in front of me so I can be very concise and make sure I'm on point with this. And I share that just because I've had experiences where I wasn't personally prepared, and it was always very uncomfortable because I'd be asked questions and I didn't have my material in front of me. So just make sure that you're in a quiet space, that you can devote your full attention for the phone call. It's only going to take 2 minutes on the phone basically to schedule the time. The vast majority of people will be willing to help you. For example, right now, we're not even face-to-face. You're watching this video. But if I were to ask you for help and just introducing me to somebody because I'm trying to grow my business, what would your inclination be? I would bet you'd say yes, okay? Particularly if you're comfortable that I'm not going to do any kind of damage to the people whose names you give me. And that's really a key part of this whole process, is making sure that I maintain the integrity of that connection and that relationship. So that if Cindy gives me the name of someone and I say I'm not going to be looking for a job from them, I better honor that commitment and honor my word. And so when I do meet with that person, I don't want to kind of do a bait and switch and start asking them for a job. That is really the only way to mess up the informational interview process. So it's really important to kind of maintain your integrity, be authentic, and just be yourself, because you're really just interviewing the person. So you make the phone call, and you might need someone to kind of coach you through this. Some people, they're nervous picking up the phone. I'm nervous picking up the phone, calling people I don't know. It's very natural to be nervous. But we're really just asking for a little bit of time to have a conversation. We're not asking for a job, so there's not a lot of pressure. We're just wanting to sit down and have a conversation, okay?